Dear learners, let us start with the next session of the System Software and the Compiler course. So this is the fifth session of the module 4. The topics covered under this session are simple Yacc program, grammars related to Yacc programs, Lex versus handwritten lectures. Myself, Dr. Suresh Hadi from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of Kendra Engineering College, Bantwal, Mangalore. First, let us start with a simple Yacc program. So each Yacc program will have the two parts in it. One will be the Lex part, other is the Yacc program. The Lex part are meant for providing the tokens. Fine. So if you, as we have discussed earlier, so there are these are the two important passes of the compiler. The first one will be your lexical analysis. In short, we call it as the Lex. And the second one will be the syntax analysis. We call it as the Yacc. The first one will be the lexical analysis. The second one is the syntax analysis. This syntax analysis is called as the parsing, or it is in short, we call it as the parser. So whereas the lexical analysis, we call it as the lexer. These parsers are meant for your Yacc program. These parsers are nothing but the Yacc programs. Right? So and in between the lex and the x, so the input program will be provided to the lexer. The lex will divide that input program into the tokens. So this we have learnt already. And those tokens are fed into the Yacc. So wherein in the lexical analysis phase, we are going to use the regular expressions which are used for identifying the tokens. For the sake of identifying the tokens, we have used the regular expressions over there. In the Yacc, it is meant for the syntax analysis to check whether the tokens are there in the proper order or not. To check that one, we are going to use the grammars which are used over there. So those grammars, we call them as the context-free grammars. You know this one earlier because of the context-free grammars you have learned in the automata theory. It is an extension of the same concept over there. So now, whenever any grammar has been given, so now let us take this example. So here I am going to check whether a valid variable or not. My rules are, first I should have an alphabet, followed by alphabet or the digit. First I should have an alphabet, then the followed by alphabet or the digit of any number. Alphabet or the digit of any number. So we are ignoring the underscore. We are ignoring the underscore for in the identification of the variables. So alphabet or a digit of any number. So any number we call it identified by the star. Fine. So this I want to implement. Right? So for this one, so how we will write the grammars? Fine. So if you go for writing the grammars, what we have learned earlier, if you go for identifying that one, so how we will start? We start with a variable, or let us go with the same convention. We start with a star symbol, yes. So yes, it should have an alphabet. Then followed by, let me write it as then A over there, or I will write one A over there. So that is A is the next non-terminal. That A will give us either the alphabet, that is a A followed by the any number of alphabet, or I can have, so or A followed by the digit, so or it can be an epsilon. Fine. So if you take up that alphabet, so alphabet is nothing but this alphabet, we can take it from capital A to capital Z or small a to small z. And the digit can be from 0 to 9. The digit can be 0 to 9. So this will be my grammar. So this we call it as the context-free grammar. Fine. So here epsilon stands for nothing. So epsilon stands for nothing, right? So these are the alphabet and the digits. So these are the tokens. These are the terminals. These are the terminals which need to be identified in the lex. Which need to be identified in the lex, and those tokens are to be passed to the Yawk. Fine. So wherein the Yawk is the high level routine. So now whenever it looks at the grammar, so now this is my grammar, let us assume. So now I want that alphabet. So where that alphabet will be given, alphabet will be there in the lexical analysis phase. So now this Yawk will call that lexical analysis phase. So how it will call? By making a call YYLex. So YYLex, it will make the call, so which will give the token to the Yawk. But tokens can't be given directly in hand. I can't give, lex can't give the token in hand to the Yawk. So for that one, what we will use is, we will use one symbol table in between the lexer and the parser. So one symbol table is used in between. So this symbol table is a common intermediate between the lex and the Yawk. So this symbol table, now that, what is the token? The token I need the A. Now the token I need that is my alphabet. So now the lex will store that token in the symbol table, that will be taken by the Yawk. So Yawk is nothing but the parser. This is what we call the lexer parser communication. That is a Yawk or the parser is a high level routine. So whenever the Yawk will have the context free grammar which is built in into it. So whenever it needs the token, it will call the lexer by making the call YYLex. The lexer will give the token to the parser with the help of the symbol table. The lexer will give the token to the parser with the help of the symbol table. So this we call it as the lexer parser communication. Right? So it is one of the most important question for your exams always. Explain lexer parser communication. Now the same problem when it is come to the implementation part. Now if you look at the implementation part over here, so each Yawk program will have the two parts in it. One will be the lex part, other is the Yawk part. So in the Yawk part, again, if you go with the Yawk part over here, in the Yawk part, it is the same convention what we use for the lex program. The first will be the definition section. In the definition section, we will include the header file and the tokens which we are receiving from the lex. So L I am using to represent the letter and the D I am using to represent the digit. So L I am using to represent the letter and the D I am using to represent the digit over there. So now in this one, how it is? First, in place of S, I am calling it as a variable. Variable should start with a letter, then I am using E for the expression. And in place of that arrow mark, I am using the colon symbol over here. In place of the arrow mark, colon symbol is used. Now it is the grammar is ended with a semicolon. Now this is the action part. If this we are able to achieve, then we call it as a valid statement and we will return the 0 over there. Now let us go to this E. So E can be, what is this? A. It is similar to E is nothing but our A. So what A is a A followed by a alpha or A followed by a digit or the epsilon. Now if you look at the example, E will call the E followed by the letter, or the next one is E followed by the digit. Epsilon means nothing, so that's why I have not written anything over here. It is the nothing. Then I will end that grammar. Then next here, if you look at the main over there, so this ends my, so here we missed that rule section. So we should end the rule section over here. Now in the user subroutine section, we will input the variable. Here we are going to call the YY parse. There we called YYLex. Here we are calling the YY parse over there. Fine. So this YY parse, why this is called? So as I stated earlier, so in the lex program, if you remember, so this is converted into a C program called lex.yy.c. The lex program is converted into a C program called lex.yy.c. This program will have the function YYLex, which we were called in from the main program. So this will be regarding the lex programs what we have done earlier. So when the same thing when you go to the Yawk, the same thing when you go to the Yawk, so in the Yawk, this is converted into a C file called y.tab.c. y.tab.c. So this will have a function called YYParse. This will have a function called YYParse. So now by calling that YYParse, the rules part will be get executed. So which internally it will call the LEX program for the tokens. Fine. So now there is one more routine over here you can observe. So that is YY error. So if my input is supposed to be A23, this is a valid variable. So now this is following this rule. In place of that one, I will write it as a 2A3. So now this is not following the norms of this context-free grammar. So now it will jump to the YY error. So in the YY error, we will print it as an invalid variable and exit. So YY error, when it will be executed? Whenever there is any error in the parsing. So when we go for parsing and if there is any error in the parsing, in those cases, we will go at the YY error routine. So YY error will be executed whenever there is any error in the parsing. There the YY error it will be get executed over there. Now let us look at the LEX part. The LEX part, the first part, here you can see something new thing is there. In place of our stdio.h, here we are using something extra. What is that one? y.tab.h. What is that one? That is this symbol table. So which will be included in the LEX program and which will be taken by the YAG for the tokens. That is for transferring the tokens from LEX to the YAG, this symbol table is used. Don't get confused with the file what is created. Here the file created is y.tab.c. Here that symbol table is y.tab.h. The symbol table is a y.tab.h wherein the file which is created is a y.tab.c. Next. Now, if you look at there is no other thing was there. So now if you look at the rule section over here. So only that is included in the LEX part. That is your definition section of the LEX part. If you look at the rule section over here, here we are identifying the tokens. If it is in capital A to capital Z or small a to small z, then we give the token name as L. The same thing is received over here, L. Then if it is in digit 0 to 9, I am going to return it as a D over there. That is a D. Here we are not printing anything, we are returning the values. The action part you can observe carefully over here. Here we are returning the values, we are not printing any of the values. Instead, we are returning the values. Those returned values are the tokens or nothing but the terminals of the grammars. And those will be used over here, L, D and the M. This is how an YAG program will be get executed. This is how the YAG program is going to be get executed. Fine. So now let us go with the textbook example what has been given. So it is a simple example for the variable. Now let us go with the textbook example. Now first will be a concept of a symbol table over here. So now the symbol table, as I told earlier, so now in this symbol table, so what we are doing is, so we are going for word recognizing. So here we are using for the word recognizing. The symbol table will be initially kept empty. The symbol table will be initially kept empty. So the symbol table will be initially kept empty. Then next, once we go for the entering, how we will enter? So initially, first I will type it as a noun, beginning. Then I will enter all the rest of the noun. So now the values will be dog. What is the type of the item? It is a noun. So this is how the symbol is stored, noun. Then what is the next symbol? Next symbol is cat. What cat is? Cat is again a noun. Cat is a noun. Then next is a horse. Horse is a noun. Cow. Cow is a noun. Then next is the verbs. What are the verbs we are having? Chew. Chew is a verb. Then action word. So chew is a verb. Eat. Eat is a verb. Then next lick. Lick is a verb. So like that the parts of speech, in place of having a static parts of speech, here we are having the symbol table which is used over here. Now look at the rest, the program. Now in this program what we are doing, so this is my definition section. This is my definition section, where in the enumeration values, I will have the enumeration values as verb for 1, adjective 2, adverb 3, lookup value is 0, noun 3, noun 4, then preposition, pronoun and the conjunction. Then adding. So how will, when we add, there are two options are there. First I will give noun and I will give the dog. Noun and the dog. So now when I give the sentence or beginning with the noun, the dog is added to the table. Next time when I give the input as a dog, it should give the value as it is a noun. The dog is a noun. It should give me the value. Right? So that we need to have the implementation. That implementation. So add word is this one. So now the dog is added to the symbol table. Now lookup word, so now this value we are going to retrieve. So when I give the dog directly, then I am going to retrieve the value and I am going to print what that type it is. Fine. So now if you look at the implementation of this one, if you look at the implementation of this one, so first new line character, we set the state to the lookup. Lookup is 0, remember. If the sentence caret symbol is used, caret symbol indicates what? If the sentence begins with, if the sentence begins with verb, then I will set the state as verb, adjective, adverb, noun, preposition, the pronoun, conjunction. In these cases, I am going to set the state over there. Fine. Then once I will get the other word, so leaving this one, example dog. Let me take the example, dog. So before that one, I gave it as a noun. So now what I need to do, I need to enter this value to the symbol table. Then I will check. Now what happens? Noun. Noun is matched over here. What is the state? State is noun. Now the state is not lookup. Then I will add this one. So what the word I have added? The state. What is the state of it? That is state is noun. The text is dog. Then when the dog is given directly, when the dog is directly given, so there I will go for the function lookup. So lookup function is going to retrieve the type, that is the state, what type it is. Then corresponding to that one, it is a noun, case noun. I am going to print it as a case noun over here. Fine. That is YY text. I told earlier, Citizen Lex program. So now, so that YY text, what it will have? It will have the matched token. What is that matched token? Dog. So it will print it as a dog is a noun. Dog is a noun. So like that, the symbol table are used. The same concept of symbol table is extended for the Yacc program. So this you have to remember. The symbol table is the place wherein we are going to store our tokens. Those tokens either we are going to retrieve and we will print those values. Those tokens we are going to retrieve and we are going to print the values. So this, what is that one? This one is, that is y dot tab dot h is our symbol table over there. Right? So now if you go for the implementation of this one, that is in the main, we will call the YYLX and look at the functions. What are the functions over there? Add word. Add word function, here we are going to create that word and that word will be added to the memory. Before that one, we will copy the name of that word. We will copy that name and the type. Type is noun, pronoun, verb, adverb. That will be copied. Then next in the lookup word function, what we'll do, we will match that word. That is, till we get the end, we are going to match that word. And if we found a match, then we will give the type of it. Then we will give the type of it. Fine. So the same thing is explained over here. First, we give the verb list. Verb is, am, were, is, am, are, was, were. These things were entered over there. Then when I give the is, so it will be printed as a verb. Right? So this is the advantage of the symbol table. That is, symbol table is the memory area wherein we are going to store the values, and those values, when I give those values directly, it is going to give us the type of the values. It is going to give us the type of the values. Right? The next will be the grammars. So these grammars will tell us how the context-free grammars are used in the Yacc program. Right? The concept of the grammars we will discuss in the next class. Thank you. The references for this presentation are taken from the textbook Dow Graham, John Levin, Tony Mason, Lex and Yacc, October 2012. Thank you.